Hello viewers, new and old, I'm Rodders and this is On The Bridle. Specifically our last episode of the racing news in a little bit of a while, but fear not, this episode has got a little bit of everything for everyone. We're going to send it off with a bit of a bang. So notebooks at the ready and come along with me as we get into it. We're going to kick this episode off with a horse called Apache Tribe. This was him winning on a stable debut for Gordon Elliott. Previously, he'd been with Noel Kelly in Ireland, winning a bumper for them and winning a maiden hurdle at Ayr as well. I think this horse has been moved to the Gordon Elliott yard with a view to going chasing next season. He is a big, rangy sort of gelding who has already won a point-to-point, so fences will improve him no end. And I would say he's definitely one to look out for next season, folks.
Plays West Hilverdy, who's going to be pressed on the flat for second by Stride On. And now given the office here by Danny Gilligan, it is Apache Tribe who's going to follow up his win here from a couple of months ago. He's 2 out of 2 over hurdles and scores on his first start for Gordon Elliott and did it nice.
Scary Hill is a horse also from the Gordon Elliott yard who is unbeaten. He has won 1 point-to-point and 2 bumpers. He could do with relaxing in races a little bit as he does pull, but when he gets to the business end, he sure does have an engine. Over hurdles, I expect him to win at least his maiden hurdle, if not a novice afterwards, and he's definitely one that I would look out for at the start of next season.
Now asked to go on by Danny Gilligan and does so. Scary Hill into the lead, from in second Close House, then Old Habits and Chaop de Board racing into the closing stages. Scary Hill is chased hard by Old Habits. There's a length and a half between them. He's still got a bit of learning to do, Scary Hill, but there's plenty of ability there.
Nathalie Jolie is a Nathaniel filly out of a Saint de Saint Mare. She won the Wild Monarch here. For those who don't know about the Wild Monarch, it has a rich history of producing very good horses indeed, and it's no surprise when I tell you that she has been exported recently. My guess is she's going to a certain place in Ireland, Clossutton.
Left her run till late and she's making the most of it. She's weaved her way through the field. Nathalie Jolie is getting the upper hand in the dying stages. A solid performance, a good debut performance. Nathalie Jolie.
Heron Bleu took the male version of the Wild Monarch, and I have to say this is one of the most impressive horses I've ever seen at Ortoy. He's by Maxius out of a Creon mare, and you're going to have some inside dirt on the trainer or the owner to get this horse over to England, because it won't be an easy task. The amount that they're going to ask for this horse will be ridiculous, but boy oh boy, he is some talent.
Towards the judge, it is going to be all Huron Bleu. Huron Bleu has gone on and bolted in another impressive debutant.
Bellamy took on Losange Bleu in the Leon Rambod hurdle at Ortoy. This was a case of a former champion taking on a current champion, and the current champion come out on top. It's not often that you get to see these types of battles over in France, as many of their horses get exported over to England or Ireland way before they get the chance. As for this fellow, he's won 15 out of 24 races. He's only a 7-year-old, and he's very much the king of all he surveys over hurdles in France.
He hasn't seen another horse, and he's come on for a brilliant win. Very, very impressive. Losange.
I Walk the Line has now won 2 hunter chases for the Willie Mullins yard. It's an interesting thing that they've got him at all. He's a 5-year-old. He's by Walk in the Park out of an Oscar mare, and I very much wonder if he's a project for seasons to come.
Driscoll's Irish Whiskey Student Race Day Hunter's Chase, and I Walk the Line hurdles it to Catalani, bunny hops it, Tache Rua Pirate Island, and then comes Coldo Flyer, Lawful Ruler, but I Walk the Line absolutely hoses it.
The trainer of this horse, Joe O'Shea, has not been a very well man at all. In fact, he's had several problems with his heart in recent years. The doctors have told him that he needs to give the game up, but he has said after Barton Snow won the Fox Hunters at Aintree that this is the one horse he would stay in training for, Bowley Bob, and I think that tells you all you need to know.
Position is Phantom's Cave, then in third Flying Skipper in front of Amalord. It's going to be a 5th win of the year for Bowley Bob. What a season it's been in hunter chases for Joe O'Shea and Henry Crowe. Bowley Bob has bolted in.
Hopping from Scotland over to France now, North Way is a horse with serious talent. He's trained by Gillian McCare. For those who don't know who Gillian McCare is, he was a champion trainer for multiple years before the likes of the new generation of trainers came along. Gillian McCare is very much like Paul Nicholls. Give him the right ammunition and he will give you the results. Paul Nicholls is currently struggling with the horses, but I can't really see how, because this one is only a 5-year-old and Gillian McCare is a selling stable. Whoever does manage to pop over to France and get him will have a grinning smile, I can tell you that.
Way came away to score. Northway wins the Grand Cross to Strasbourg, goes on to win.
Metronomique is another French horse begging for an Irish or English trainer to pop over there and pick him up. Every time he goes to Compiègne, you can literally have the mortgage on. He's normally ridden by James Reevely. He's in the care of Amanda Zetterholm and Noel George, and personally I feel he's wasted time and time again going around Compiègne beating horses that simply will get absolutely nowhere near him. Someone go over on a rescue mission and pick this lad up.
Now looking to assert, is clear by 7 to 8 lengths. Opera Light is giving Game Chase in second spot, but Metronomique, who was on the deck last time at Auteuil, will bounce back in magnificent style.
Crystal Island was bought for £205,000 at the April Cheltenham sales, and since then he has won at Ascot and won here at Fosslas. He looks like a chaser all day long, having already won his point-to-point. He reminds me very much of a Django Bay type character, one that improves with a step up and trip over fences. He's going to be an exciting prospect next year, folks. Tell us what you think in the comment section below. Can he become the new Django Bay?
And the leader missed the last there, Crystal Island, and as a result the pack closed. Fairy fourth and King's Champion on the outside, trying to challenge, but Crystal Island is maintaining the advantage on the run to the line and remains unbeaten. Despite fluffing the last, Crystal Island it is.
No drama this end had to go all the way up to Perth to get compensation for what was a miserable start at the Cheltenham Festival. He will be going chasing next year, that's for certain. Paul Nicholls has already said that. And on the subject of Paul Nicholls, he's had a torrid time also recently, with Johnny Delahaye pulling out all of his horses from his yard. I've always liked Paul. We're hoping to go and do some filming down at Ditchit in the summer for our Legend series, which is coming next year. All I gotta say is Paul is a top class bloke and I've never had an issue with him at all.
Drama this end is back in the winning groove. It's the 100th winner of the season for Harry Cobden.
This is Stumps or Slips, and he won a Hunter Chase at Chepstow. Now I know what you're asking. Why are you showing us a Hunter Chaser at Chepstow? Well, this is what we do on the Racing News. We highlight the top performances within the last 2 weeks, and then we show them to you and let you decide where you're going to go with them. He will be out roughly at the end of May. There is a Hunter Chase meeting at Stratford, which is the end of the season in its entirety. And I would suggest if he goes there, he is an absolute shoeing.
Stumps or Slips is coming away to readily land the Dunraven Bowl. Pink-Eyed Pedro, Grassroots Open. Hunter.
This is in between days. She's won 2 out of 2 races so far. This was her winning a listed race at Auteuil recently. She's in the Zetterholm and George combination, and I would be severely shocked if she isn't on the export list at some point soon.
To the left, didn't do Dedell too many favours. In between days is trying to extend on the run for the line and shaken up, starts to edge away. In between days, still plenty to learn, but clearly better days are ahead. In between days.
It was a brilliant performance by Dorian Quest to win the Oaksey Chase. Every time they looked like they were going to get near him, he pulled out another magnificent jump. I also want to mention Teddy Blue. The bookies might want to consider sponsoring this horse because every time he looks like he's going to cruise into a race, and at the last moment he decides, no, not for me, Gov.
Quest wins and is another.
Edwardstone's victory in the Celebration Chase was marred by the sad passing of Thistle Ask. Not dwelling on that though, this was a mighty good performance by Edwardstone, who is firmly in the veteran stages of his career. But I think the big question that needs to be asked is, should these races even be running at all this late in the season?
Close on the line.
Jinko Boo put in another good performance here in the Select Hurdle after his Cheltenham Festival win. He's heading towards a rating of 160, and that is good enough to be contesting a Stayers Hurdle next year.
Half between them. Jinko Blue from Lucky Place. It's going to be a Henderson 1-2, and it's going to be Jinko Blue because he's stretching away now under a drive, and Jinko Blue and James Bowen wins the Bet365.
The first grade one of the Punchestown Festival was the Champion Novice Hurdle, and it was won by each to their own. I think Sean Flanagan gave this horse a very cute ride, going a fraction slower than he should have been going and ensuring the horse had an extra kick at the finish. As for El Kairos, he is a cruise merchant. As soon as he gets into a battle, he backs out of it, and I wouldn't have him on a list for any race anytime soon next season.
They're not going to get to each to their own, and Sean Flanagan, all the way winners of the PRL Champion Novice Hurdle.
Western Fold won what is effectively the Champion Novice Chase for 3-milers. Now, Western Fold at the Cheltenham Festival got beaten 30 lengths to Kitsball, and that's Kitsball pulling up out the back right there. I don't think this form is going to add up to an awful lot. Punchestown sometimes at the end of the season throws up the funniest results, and this year has been no different, with some of the results being, well, nothing short of barking mad.
On the inside, it's Western Fold and Jack Kennedy lengthening away with the Dooley Insurance Group champion novice chase for Stairs.
The Goss Defender bumper went to Abbey Glen for the Martin Brazel team. This bumper has a particularly good habit of throwing up good horses for the future, so I'll take a note of his name. Martin Brazel has always proved that he's a good trainer when the ammunition comes along. My case in point being Fast or Slow.
Racing inside the final furlong and the Goss Defender bumper, and it's Abbey Glen and John Gleeson clicking clear. Racing well inside the final furlong, it is Abbey Glen winning by 5-6 lengths.
If there was going to be an award for the most improved horse of the season, I think it would go marginally to Il Ete Tom. He's had one blip this year, which was at Ascot, and I don't actually think he entirely loved the racetrack. I think that's why that blip happened. Apart from that, this year, he has been faultless. He is now a dual champion chase winner, courtesy of the Cheltenham Champion Chase and also the Punchestown Champion Chase, and I'd say that's not bad for a horse who was once considered a Mullins also ran.
Back-to-back champion chases this season for Paul Downing and Willie Mullins.
Delamonte showed a really good turn of foot here in this bumper. Just a word of warning though, Patrick Mullins thinks he is a good ground horse, so the jury is very much out as to whether he will actually be a good national hunt horse in the winter months.
Stays on well, and on the outside is Delamont. It's Harford in front, racing inside the final furlong from Bunker Buster, coming right at them is Delamont on the outside, and Theo Pale goes through in between horses, and Delamont with a wet sail under Patrick Mullins to complete a day one treble for feature.
Le Fermier was Harry Durham's first ever Grade 1 winner. He's unbeaten in 4 runs if you include his point-to-point. He will jump a fence obviously because of his point-to-point experience. I just wonder whether the lack of actual runs is going to catch him out next season with only 4 career starts. But that's a problem for the future. What I will say is I did like this performance. It was tough and gritty.
Not for denying under JJ Slevin for Harry Durham as they win.
With No Limits won the champion Punchestown bumper, but the one horse I want to focus on here is the Morn Rambler. I think this horse was desperately unlucky. He didn't get the gaps when he wanted them at the top of the home straight, and I think it basically cost him the race.
The final furlong with No Limit and Josh Halford on the outside in a battle with Boys Town and Derek O'Connor. The Morn Rambler can't go with them for Declan Lavery, and it is With No Limit. With No Limit is getting the upper hand in the race and stay at Punchestown champion INH bumper 10 with No Limit.
No, I'm not actually going to say an awful lot about Gaelic Warrior because there's a piece about him later on in the episode. Stay tuned for that. What I'm actually going to focus on is Fact to File. This horse has run twice at Punchestown at the end of the season, and twice he's put in less than convincing efforts. I would suggest that this horse does not like the end of season runs, and I would avoid him in the future. Punchestown at the end of the season, all costs.
With a growing advantage over Fact to File, and into the closing stages, Gaelic Warrior opens and closes his season here at Punchestown in the Ladbroke Skull Cup.
Even though it took the mayor's bumper at Punchestown, this was one of the most impressive performances of the entire festival. From the top of the home straight, there was little doubt that she was going to win. She should be unbeaten, but she fell in a point-to-point when she was 2 lengths clear of a horse called Birds of a Feather, who won impressively at Warwick. But all in all, there's no doubting that she is an exciting prospect for next season.
Is wetting the whistle here. It's Even Though and Judy Townend going further and further clear. The race.
This was one of the quirkiest falls I've seen in a while from Kopek de Board. He takes off too early, sticks his shoulder in it, and then goes over. He half tries to hurdle the fence, and that's cost him ultimately quite badly. Salvatore Mundi was there to pick up the pieces. I'm not really sure if he was going to get near Kopek de Board if he had stayed up. I think Kopek de Board would have found another gear if Salvatore Mundi had got near him. Putting it nicely, Salvatore Mundi is a horse with limited ability, but he's still managed to win 2 Grade 1s in his career. But I would put that very much down to his trainer's mastery.
Monday presented with this race after the fall of his stable companion Kopek.
Bob Ollinger screamed at Tahipu, boo-hoo, shucks to be you, yet again has he beat him in the stairs hurdle at Punchestown. Bob Ollinger has now won 5 Grade 1 hurdles, he's won 11 races out of 22, and to paraphrase Confucius, he's just an absolute dude of a horse. I and everyone here on the On the Bridle horse racing channel wish Bob Ollinger the happiest of retirements.
On the outside, 150 odds to go. It's Bob Ollinger from Jimmy Desoy into second, laid on from Tiapo. Bob Ollinger and Darrow Cave.
What a trainer Declan Queally is. He's mugged off the biggest stables all season, time after time. And he did it again with Attaboy Mushy. This horse is now unbeaten in 2 races, and this was its biggest win so far. The most baffling thing is that Declan Queally doesn't have that many horses in his stable, but the ones he does have, he makes full use of. And I can only hope that we can get him on the show next season. Wonderwall has now won the Cheltenham Fox Hunters and the Punchestown Fox Hunters, which is quite a unique double. Now I'm going to talk about It's on the Line. This has to be one of the trickiest customers to ride in the National Hunt game. He tried 7 times to back out of this race, and Derek O'Connor was having none of it. Every time he was scrubbed along, the horse was like, don't want this. Derek O'Connor went, don't care, you're going forwards. Just an outstanding ride, even though he got beat. Rumour has it that this might have been Dino Blue's last ever run, and if that's the case, she has been a fantastic horse for the stable. A remarkable fact though, she's only won 1 Grade 1 in her entire career. I had to double check that fact, because sometimes the mind can play tricks on you. I could have sworn she's won 6 or 7 Grade 1s.
Staying on over on the far side. Dino Blue is over the last from Spindlebury, jumping into second from Only by Night on the run inside the final 150 yards. It is Dino Blue ending her season on a high in the Glencadig Lady Francis Flood Mare's Chase.
King Rusco Great get the job done, but I'm going to say, only by the skin of his teeth, think that's a symptom of a long, hard season. Some of these horses just go over the top when they reach Punchestown. He's managed to get away with it. Does look like a chaser, and David Casey thinks that's where he'll be going next season. If that's the route they take, I'd be very interested to see how he gets on, because it looks like the hurdles are just an inconvenience to him.
Lord Barden, and then comes Sanbaco. King Rasco Grey is flat out. Has been put through the ringer here. Lord Barden is finishing strongly on the outside.
Lossiemouth managed to keep her 100% record at Punchestown when she won the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. Eventually, her rating will get up to about 165. If you add in her allowance of £7, you're talking about a 172 rated animal. Next season, I do not see one animal in the betting that could even challenge her. Most of them are just going other ways or retiring.
150 yards. It is Lossiemouth by 4 to 5 lengths from Golden Age as Lossiemouth pulls off another famous hat-trick for Paul Tannen and William Wallen.
They should nickname Largy Star Lazarus, because he was dead and buried in this race within the final furlong, and somehow he's managed to rise from the dead. No, I'm not going to say this form is the strongest form in the world. I mean, Largy Star got beaten 24 lengths by Love Sign Danu earlier on in the season, and he's also been beaten in the maiden hurdle. But this was still quite a good performance. Over the years, there has been a theme of horses winning on the first day of the Punchestown Festival and managing to win on the last day as well. Fountain House has followed exactly in their footsteps. Now, some people don't like the Banks races at Punchestown, but I think they do add a certain something to the festival. And they also allow lesser lights to have their day in the sunshine.
Over and clear of Escaria 10. Facker Duderi is staying on well on the run in. But Fountain House, winner of the Ladies' Cup on Tuesday, completes the double for Ian McCarthy.
This race was a case in point of what I've said earlier on, horses going over the top. Woodoo and Jade de Grugy had been racing since November last year, and I think it's just took its toll. No disrespect to Place de la Nation, but would she really get near these 2 mares if they're in top peak condition? I don't think so.
The centre, Place de la Nation stand side. Woodoo is weakened in third, and Place de la Nation on the stand side with the advantage as they go to the line. Place de la Nation will win for Willie Mullins. And
Saratoga took out the last Grade 1 of the Punchestown Festival. I thought this was a nice performance considering he'd come from a handicap previously. He hit the front well, he stayed well to the line, and I think he's got a nice amount of improvement in him for next season.
the final flight, Saratoga over about 3 in front. Bartholomew stays on in second. Metro Man is third, but with less than a furlong to race. It's Saratoga and Mark Walsh out in front. Stretching clear to win the Ballymore. Saratoga wins for Porticrote.
I think this was one of the best rides I've seen from John Gleeson at the Punchestown Festival. He rode them to sleep from the front. I quite like a sire at Crystal Ocean. Him, Poet's Word, and also Idaho are doing an absolute madness in bumpers at the moment.
And trying to stay on Working Class Hero and the Captain's Word, but inside the final furlong, Chris stretch clear is going to win the Sedgwick Steel Bumper in great style. Christasia wins by a wide margin. Good battle on for the second.
Batagos was a nice winner of this novice event here. She's got quite unusual breeding for a miler. She's by Maymaz. But you see the horse here in third in the orange colours. She won a Class 2 maiden at Sandown. So this form is not absolute garbage.
3 lengths clear from With Tears in My Eyes and D-Day Diva, and Botargos and Ray Dawson nudged out to make sure. Going to remain unbeaten. 2 from 2. Looks a promising filly. Botargos.
For those of you who view the racing news frequently on this channel, you will know that this horse, Talk of New York, was put up by me after he won his maiden. I said that he'd probably go to the Road to the Kentucky Derby Stakes. I was wrong on that, and I'm willing to say that I was wrong. He went to Meydan instead, and he ran far too free. In fact, Charlie Appleby said that he'd basically not touched him. This race was an entirely different prospect, and the betting told you that. As soon as he got upsides the horse on the inside of him, you knew there was only going to be one winner. He's a very promising horse, this, with a good turn of foot.
And then Shatir, so Talk of New York has worked the way right through the field. Now begins to move on by 2 lengths. Lost Signal, Shatir and Maximised, but up towards the line, Talk of New York. Lost Signal is sticking to the task, but it is Talk of New York, who does hold a 2,000 guineas entry, who comes away to complete.
I am a self-confessed national hunt lover, but sometimes you get your head turned by the opposite code, and you get your head turned with a certain type of horse. This horse, Portcullis, made every attempt to lose this race at the start, but by the end, no one really cared because he was so far clear, it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for a maiden horse to do this and still win by the distance that he did. He's rumoured to be going to the Dante next week, and I'm interested to see how he does.
But he's more than made it up as he goes clear of the field, wins the Wood Ditton in great style. Portcullis clear at the line.
£900,000 and the full sister to Ombudsman. Synchronicity has a very bright future ahead of her, judging on this maiden win. I'm also going to mention her trainer, Ed Walker, who seems to be getting the right sort of ammunition now, and I'm very happy about that because Ed Walker, in my belief, is a very good trainer indeed.
And they're keeping on Cap Santa Lucia, far side Song of the Clouds getting going late, but it's Synchronicity who's well on top as they head towards the line, and a winning debut for Synchronicity.
Apologies for the interruption, viewers, but I need to tell you about the direction of travel for this channel moving forwards. Moving forwards next season, we want to go to locations and start filming with jockeys, trainers and owners, but we can only do that with your support. We are currently at less than 800 subscribers, and each and every one of them is a legend in my book. They're very knowledgeable, so come along, click the like and subscribe button and have a conversation with them. I promise you will not regret it. And for everyone that's watching in general, if you could click the hype button below this video, that'll send a signal to the YouTube algorithm to stop slacking and put it in front of many more eyes, and that really will help this channel out enormously. Also, if you'd like to become a member to this channel and support this channel financially, you can do that by clicking the join button below. There's a £4 option and there's an £8 option. Unfortunately, we do not set the prices. That is down to YouTube. But what we can guarantee you is access to private videos and also a bit of information from the horse's mouth as and when we get it. So it's well worth it. Anyway, back to the video. If you think I've lost the plot because I'm showing you a horse who has never run before, just hold on a minute, I'll explain. Zidane is a $10.5 million purchase and has gone to Bob Baffert. This lad's sire was Flightline, a horse so good he was reckoned to be the best horse that was raced in America within the last 5 decades. This horse's stride is 24 feet. Flightline's stride was 25.5 feet. This lad, when he grows up, is going to be an absolute monster. Another horse who has appeared in the Racing News show is Opera Ballo. When he was racing over in Meydan, I said you could have the mortgage on him in his next race, and he duly obliged. What I didn't consider is the fact that he would come back over here and win this race as well. But what I do think happened here is he caught his unfit race rivals unawares from the front. It was a very good ride by William Buick, nevertheless.
Half to 3 lengths to Field of Gold going into second, but not going to catch the leader, and Opera Ballo makes all.
Rahib is the brother to Bahid and Hukam, and those two were exceptionally classy horses, so he had very, very big footsteps to fill. But I can say the family honour is very much still intact, as he looks like a horse who could very much live up to his illustrious siblings' careers. That said, he just won't be running in the Derby this early in his career. They're going to take a more patient approach with him.
To Bahid and Hukam, he's bred to be good. He looks as though he's going to be very good indeed.
Unlike Rahib, Felicitas is definitely heading towards her classic. She looks like she'll get a mile and a half all day long. She's another Ed Walker horse, and this was a nice little introduction for the season. I believe she's going for the Muzzadora next, which is next week, and I want to see how she gets on.
Is challenging, so too Sunshine Star, Felicitas, then Alma Latina, Lady Kirk and Ruby Wedding, and now Felicitas picking up pretty well on the outside of Ribbon of Sea. Sunshine Star needs to find a lot more and not going to get there by the look of things inside the final furlong. Felicitas has kicked away now, picking up well and stretches 3 lengths clear of Ribbon of Sea and the promising Alma Latina up to the line. Felicitas, pretty impressive.
When Ballydor name their horses, they don't tend to waste a name, and Charles Darwin is a case in point. He's a Norfolk winner at Royal Ascot, and this season his main target will be the Commonwealth Cup. This was a nice little pipe opener, but tell us, viewers, do you think he will be the winner of the Commonwealth Cup at Royal Ascot? Put it in the comment section below.
Cargo calls, Sid Braid runs on the outside against the rail, Kindergarten and then Fresco Baldi went up towards the finish. It is Charles Darwin by a length and a half from Kindergarten and Silk Braid. Charles Darwin extends winning ways on his return to
Scandinavia made his seasonal debut in the vintage crop here. I'm going to make a bold prediction with this horse. I think he will be the winner of the Ascot Gold Cup for a very specific reason. Aidan O'Brien always follows a very specific path with his Gold Cup horses, and this horse is on the first footstep of that path. Adding to that, Trawlerman is only getting older, and this division is a very weak division indeed, and it won't take a lot of winning.
and Dallas Star followed then by Calmers and Leinster, then Lafayette, and Scandinavia hits the front. Well inside the final furlong, it's Scandinavia stretching on from Dallas Star, who's run a cracker. Mid third is Scandinavia.
Speaking of stayers, I think this is going to be a hell of a stayer next year, Ravenspire. This was over a mile and a half, and he looked to be flat out the entire way until he got to the business end. As soon as that happened, he started to pull away. That is a sign of a stayer. He's only going to improve up in trip, and I think he's one that definitely needs to hit the trackers and notebooks as soon as he goes up to 2 miles.
Passes the furlong pole to Poker. Pursuit of Lovers, nothing more to offer, and Ravenspire is grinding this out and beginning to draw away close home for Pierre-Louis Jamin Carlberg in the colours of the late Sheikh Mohammed.
Some people really don't like this horse, and I'm not sure why. They just say that the form doesn't add up to an awful lot, but Satano Reeve was second at Royal Ascot, and he's made him look like a complete selling plater. There is good news on the horizon though. His trainer is mooted as saying that he is considering bringing him to Royal Ascot in 2027. Something to look forward to, folks.
Helios Express Fast Network was 20 in a row, ever in question, never in doubt. What a win, what a horse.
If someone told you Romantic Warrior was an 8-year-old, you'd say, nah, there's not a chance he's an 8-year-old. But this is an 8-year-old who is beating the likes of Royal Champion and Sosi. And it's not like he's struggling to beat these horses. He's absolutely hounding them within the last furlong. This horse is a megastar, and I wish he would get much more respect than he actually does get.
Next, it's Romantic Warrior though. Sosi, Masquerade Ball, they can't get him. It's QE2, number 4 for Romantic.
This was a very pleasing return from Dariz, who absolutely scooted up on his seasonal debut. His long-term target, of course, will be the Arc, but his short season target will be the Prince of Wales Stakes at Royal Ascot, so anyone that hasn't seen him yet will get a chance to do so in Berkshire in the middle of June.
It's Arrow Eagle now tackled by First Look, looking behind. Dariz is tanking along in the hands of Barcelona. Aventure tries to squeeze through. The right Bright Picture is now finishing off with purpose. 2:50 to go. Now he says go on. Dariz, who hits the front and starts to power away. Bright Picture from the back has got no response, and Dariz dazzles on return. What a performance in the pre.
Anyone that's watched the flat season kick off will note that John Gosden's yard is on absolute fire. Saxon Street was another one of the horses that have come out this season and proven that, and I think he's a nice animal, although I think he might be one for later on in the season.
On now under William Buick, New Zealand trying to fight back. Balzac and Rebel Rocker also putting in good late work on the near side. Looks like New Zealand's going to finish only 4th. Saxon Street clearing away now from Rebel Rocker and Balzac and racing up towards the line. Quite impressive by Saxon Street. Wins by about 3.
Another John Gosden horse is Sweet William. During this race, I was thinking, Willie, won't he? Willie, won't he? He had a long think about going by the leader, but that's just the horse he is. If you back him at odds on, you have to factor that into the equation. Also, sometimes when he gets to the front, he decides he's done enough when he hasn't. He's very much one with his own mind about this game.
Position behind those. Sweet William has joined Caballo de Mar, who's battling back very gamely at him though. Running towards a winning post now. Sweet William and Caballo de Mar on the nod.
Bo Echo took the first classic of the season and it was a very nice performance, but I will say he did have the advantage of a high draw, and you do need a high draw at Newmarket no matter what anyone says. It will be interesting to see how he does in the St James's Palace, seeing as he's going to skip the Irish 2000 Guineas.
The secret adversary into the sky in Distant Storm and King's Trail wide apart here. Bo Echo and Start on the run towards the line, and it's Bo Echo by a length and a half or two now near to the finish, and Bo Echo's going to remain unbeaten. He's won the Betfred 2000.
Golden Tempo won the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. For anyone that watched this race, Golden Tempo's run was a minor miracle. He was all but tailed off at halfway. True Love won 1,000 guineas. I will say though, you do not want to see this filly go beyond a mile because she won't stay. She's got a mix of speed and stamina, enough for a mile. Last year, she looked like she was going to be hemmed by about 6 furlongs. She's improved no end over a winter break, and it looks like her next port of call will be the Irish 1,000 guineas.
True Love has won the 1,000 guineas.
Minnie Hawk did what she had to do on her seasonal return. She will improve massively for this race, and the Irish Tatterstall's Gold Cup has been mooted as her next port of call. I will just say she's got an awful lot more options this year as a 4-year-old, so she might just be one busy girl this season.
And gathered in by stable companion Minnie Hawk, hands and heels by Ryan Moore, and Minnie Hawk has swept on by Edward Hamilton as Minnie Hawk restores winning ways on her season reappearance in the Moors Bridge Stake.
A couple of weeks ago, we put up a post on our community tab asking which one of these horses from the Willie Mullins yard has captured your imagination this season. And without doubt, the result came through as Gaelic Warrior. He has improved enormously this year, winning a Gold Cup and a Punchestown Gold Cup to boot. He doesn't look like the same horse who lost a handicap at Cheltenham in any way, shape or form. He has matured. In the past, he's been a bit of a nutcase, but I think he's on the right track now, and he's very much one to be excited about next season. So that is a wrap on the 25-26 National Hunt season, folks. Dan Skelton being the leading English trainer, breaking the £5 million barrier, which has never been done before. Sean Bowen retained his title, and Willie Mullins predictably clawed back Gordon Elliott on the Punchestown Festival to claim yet another title. It has been a fast, frenetic season, and it's had its ups and downs. I hope you have a brilliant summer. We will be back around about August, and I'm going to leave you with something a bit special.
And is now Great Orning coming away, and he's reversed last year's placings in the Betfred.
The end is near, and so I face
to form in the 26 penny per Irish Gold Cup Gaelic Warriors second.
My friend, I'll say it clear.
To the lead is a Supreme, and Old Dog Star leads them home in the opener.
I've lived a life
Fifth hurdle, it's Golden Ace under Lorcan Williams for Jeremy Scott and Ian Gosden.
And
Then Lou Lambert, oh, he's unseated, right?
And more.
Up front is that Pose Trois, who wins the long walk for Nico de Boinville.
Did it my
Nose in front, Gaelic Warrior to the inside, the jukebox man racing up towards the line in a head.
But then again, too few to mention.
50 yards to go, Kitzbühel gamely sticking his grey head out in front, and Kitzbühel has won.
And he's unbeaten in 3 now. No drama this end, wins a 7th challenge.
I plan
up towards the line, the Gold Cup goes to Gaelic Warrior.
Each careful step
in yellow and he's gone. Constitution Hill is down.
more, much more than this. I did it.
The Lee and JJ Slevin, the horse running in the race for the 5th year in a row, and this time home by the Lee is the hero of the...
I'm sure you knew when I bit off more
place. James Bowen, redemption, the Clarence House again to John Bond.
When there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out.
And here to Sir Gino, a winner over fences here 12 months ago. This time it's the scalp of the champion.
I've laughed.
He's still clear halfway up the run-in, and it's Townend and Mullins in the BetMGM Queen Mother Champion Chase. Ilete Tall has run them ragged to win.
And now, as tears subside,
It's in recent festivals, 4 consecutive wins, and this time it's the champion.
to think I did all that, and may I say,
But brighter days ahead, she's about 3 lengths clear, 100 yards left to go. Brighter days ahead, one of her greatest days today. Brighter days ahead wins the...
I did it my way.
He's Cap there, driven all out in the closing stages, but he's holding on to win the Scottish Grand National. It's Cap there, it's tight for second.
If not himself, then he
Up towards the line, they can start commissioning the statue. It's his 6th success at Down Royal. It's his 3rd success in the Best Picture Champion Chase. It's his 10th Grade 1. It's N1 in again.
And out in front in the Christmas Stairs hurdle is King Upu. What a consistent horse he is. Now Caesar Harris wins back-to-back juveniles at the course. Maximus in front again in the National. Fletching on Rachel Sirocco, but at the line, Iron Maximus regains the National.
Yes, it was my